Hi. I dyed my hair peach. You can't really even tell now. It's faded so much. It's so insane how quickly it fades. But anyway, I don't know. It was on a whim. Anyway, today I wanted to show you, I just thought I'd address that up front, you know? Today I wanted to show you how you can wear glam makeup without wearing any foundation. Because I know a lot of people have asked me that. Like, they don't like wearing foundation and they'll watch a tutorial that, listen, I knew there was construction going on when I moved here. It's fine. It's fine. You guys, it's real life. Anyway, so I know that a lot of you guys have looked up like tutorials about how to wear, or just makeup tutorials in general, where it's like a no foundation makeup tutorial, and basically the person ends up like slathering their face in concealer. So that's not what we're gonna do. And I just want to show you how you can actually wear like a glam eye and also, sorry, am I hitting the, I am. Okay, there we go. I was hitting the camera. How you can wear glam makeup without like slathering your face in the rest of your face in makeup, basically. All right, so that's what we're gonna do today. So to prime, I used my sunscreens. I'm trying a new thing where I use a chemical sunscreen on the outer perimeter of my face and like a mineral sunscreen around my eyes, because they usually sting. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, that's why there's like a little bit of a white cast around my eyes. So obviously the first thing is your complexion. You know, my skin's been looking really nice. I'm very happy with it. I went to a dermatologist and she changed my life. So I don't really feel like I need a ton of coverage on my skin anyway. But like there are certain areas where I need like redness correction and stuff like that. If you are someone who doesn't want to wear a foundation, but you have like areas that you need to conceal, what I would do is make sure that you find a concealer that is very close to your skin tone. For me, that is the Kosas concealer in number 02W. It's like basically a perfect match. So if I do get like, you know, like I probably am gonna use that around my temples and stuff, use a really good high coverage concealer just in those areas. Anyway, let's start off. So obviously my big thing that you guys probably know about is my dark circles. So I'm going to do some color correction. I am going to be using my Sicily concealer. This is number 1. It's ridiculously expensive, but I bought it and I'm going to use it. So I would say that, especially if you're not doing foundation, a bright eye is pretty important. And what I mean by that is making sure that you are, I mean, unless, you know, that's the aesthetic that you're going, unless you're going for like heroin chic or something. But if you feel like your glam eye is looking like really disconnected, it could potentially be because you don't have enough in certain areas. We're gonna work on that today. Now that I have that down, I usually like to let that sit for a second. I am gonna use my Kosas concealer. So this is 02W. You guys might see me on the Sephora website. I was hired as a model for the shade under this, I think, and that is not my correct shade, just so you know. This one is. So I'm gonna place a tiny bit of that just on my temple, just because I tend to get like a little bit of like breakouts there, and I also tend to get a little bit of redness on my chin. And then I'm gonna place a little bit of that right here. So these are areas that I wanna do a little bit of concealing, but not brightening. Just going in with this angled brush from BH Cosmetics, it's the number 5. I don't know what collection it's from, but it's really great for concealer. And I'm gonna lightly blend that out. And depending on how glam the eye is, I would suggest doing your complexion first, because sometimes, especially if you don't like wearing foundation, if you do your eye first and it's like so glam, then you end up like trying to make your complexion match, and it might feel like, oh, I'm not wearing enough stuff on my face, you know? And it can end up looking weird. And in areas where I want there to be like a little bit more coverage, I'm not using swiping motions, I'm just kind of patting. Finding a concealer that is a perfect match for your face is so hard, but it's really necessary for this kind of thing. So you're really just using tiny amount. I'm actually gonna put a little bit of that like right here as well. So you're kind of just like looking at your face and being like, okay, where do I need just a little bit of color correction? All right, now that I have pretty decent like cohesive color throughout my skin, like I feel like we've done enough correcting, I'm gonna use my concealer. So I am going to go in with my Tarte concealer because this is a nice full coverage concealer. It's a matte finish. This is in the shade Light Sand. And now I'm gonna use this to conceal underneath my eyes, but I'm also going to use it to highlight certain areas of my face, but I'm not gonna paint my face with this. So I like to brighten here. If you guys saw the video where I like recreated that Danielle Marcan look, I kind of just like stole her exact placement of things. So I'm just gonna dot it in the areas that I want it. And I like to do a little bit of a lift at the end of my eye, just like that. And I'm gonna actually place a tiny bit up in here, Use a sponge, use a brush. I've been trying to use brushes recently, I don't know why. So I'm just using really gentle patting motions so that I'm keeping it right in the areas where I want it without taking it like all over my face. So this is how you start to bring shape to your face so that, you know, you're creating that like really glam look without having to wear stuff all over the place, you know? Now, the next part is really going to depend on if you want to use powder or creams. I like using creams for contouring, but if you like powders, you might want to go in with your like setting powder now. So to contour, I'm using my Fenty Beauty Amber Match Stick. And if you're confused about this, literally just go watch that video where I recreated Danielle Marquin's look, because I literally, like, that's exactly what I've been doing. And I'm just using this little Pro Play Cover Foundation brush by Velour Cosmetics. So it's really preference. I really do think that like cream or powder would be completely fine with this. It depends on like your skin type and also the finish that you're going for. And if you ever feel like you need blending, you can always just use like whatever brush you used before. So I'm gonna use the brush that I used for my concealer, and I'm just going to blend around. You know, like if you watch tutorials and you're like, oh, I'm confused because I didn't use a sponge or a brush to apply foundation, and that's what people go in and blend with. Just use your concealer one, or just use a clean brush. All right, I'm gonna prime my lids before I go in with any powder. I'm using my NARS primer. All right, I'm gonna apply blush, and I'm actually going to use my, where'd it go? Oh wait, actually I can use this one, but maybe people are sick of this now. This is the Cheek Kiss number 110 palette, and I've really been loving it, so I'm actually gonna use this, whatever. But I'm gonna use this shade right here. And I'm applying that with a highlighting brush because all my other brushes are dirty. This is the Morphe M510. I don't even know if they make this anymore. As you apply, you just wanna make sure that everything is like blending into each other so that it doesn't look like completely disconnected, if that makes sense. So I'm blending my blush up into my contour. I'm bringing it underneath my eyes into that concealer, and I'm using a really light hand. It's actually nice having this color hair because I can just blend my blush right into it. Just remember that if there are any areas where you know, spot concealed or whatever, you need to like maintain certain coverage, just pat rather than blending like this. All right, I'm gonna set underneath my eyes with my LC powder. Now this is a very brightening powder, so I'm gonna focus this just in the areas where I placed that concealer, in the areas where I like want to brighten. I'm not gonna take it everywhere. Now for the rest of my face, I wanna use a translucent powder because I obviously have some oil in certain areas and I wanna set, but I don't want, once again, like one of the reasons that you might not be wearing foundation is because you don't want that like heavy feeling. So I love the Ilia powder. This is in the shade Magic Sands, which is just a really nice pale golden shade. It works for my fair complexion very well. And I'm gonna use really small amounts, so I'm picking it up in the cap and then tapping it off. And then I'm just going to really gently press just in the areas where I feel like I need a little bit of powder. Especially in areas where I did a little bit of concealing. So anywhere where I think I need coverage to maintain. So you just want to build it up a little bit more in those areas and then just lightly blend to the rest of your face so it doesn't look like disconnected. Because obviously a face powder is never going to match your skin perfectly, you know? All right, and then for bronzer, I'm actually going to use a powder, which is why I went with my powder just now. I'm going to use my NARS bronzer in San Juan, and I'm actually using that same Morphe M510. Wait, M510? Yeah, M510. I'm just going to turn it around. And I'm just going to do a really light dusting. And the nice thing about not wearing foundation is you can kind of like do this in areas where you don't, you know, have spots to conceal. And for my cheekbones, I'm just going to do like a little bit in between that blush and that contour since I did already contour. So I'm just going to bring like a teeny bit of warmth to the face. Okay, so I did my brows just because I wanted to get it out of the way. So for today, I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be using the new Melt Cosmetics palette. This is their holiday collection. This is, okay, I don't speak Spanish, so please don't, I have the worst pronunciation. Amor y Mariposas. I probably butchered that. Like, I'm the whitest. Anyway, it's beautiful. Look at this. You know what I mean? So this is what we're gonna be doing. So obviously, if you feel uncomfortable wearing like a ridiculously smoky eye with no foundation, then you wanna kind of like ease into it, especially if like no foundation is something that you're sort of like beginning to do. So I'm gonna start off with my Sigma E27 brush, and I'm gonna pick up, I don't know how to say this and I don't even wanna try, this one. Mensahi? Dude, I don't know, okay? I tried Duolingo. I got lazy and I gave up. So I'm focusing that on the tip of the brush, and I'm gonna place this just above my crease, just underneath my eyebrow. And I'm gonna create a little bit of a wing. I'm actually gonna grab the Dominique Cosmetics, fuck, I wish I could speak Spanish. I don't know what this accent means. It's the 523 brush. Look how cute these are. Dude, the collection is like amazing. It's insane. Anyway, so this is the 523, and I'm going to pick up this one. No, wait, this one. And I'm gonna use that to kind of create like a cut crease definition. So I'm going at the end or the bottom of that color that we put down. And then I'm just gonna kind of like fade it out. Going back in with that first brush and just blending those colors. And then I'm gonna use that same brush and that same color to start building up a wing on the outer corner. So I'm using a shadow to kind of like lay it in. When I turned 31, my eyelids just got like a little bit saggier. I'm gonna take that color on that brush along my lower lash line, blending up into that wing. And I'm also going to take that on the lower lash line at the inner corner. So just underneath the inner corner. And then I'm going to grab this shade right here. And I'm just going to keep using that brush because it's so good. And I'm going to build up that wing a little bit more. Dude, these are really pigmented, just so you know. Like a little bit goes a really long way. All right, I'm gonna pick up that first brush, the Sigma brush, and I'm gonna go in with the first color, and I'm gonna blend that wing, like just above. So kind of just like meeting the first color, or the first one that we put down, or whatever. I'm gonna grab this shade, build up the wing a little more. So the darker shades are just getting closer to my lash line. I'm gonna take that dark brown on my lower lash line with that same brush. All right, I'm just grabbing a matte cream shade because I wanna kind of define this area right in here. And then I'm gonna use the Melt Sombra Plana, the number 24 brush. And I'm gonna grab this beautiful rose. I don't even know what to call it, but it kind of matches my hair. And I'm going to, I want to mist that, but I don't think I have any mist. Oh, I do actually. This is actually just the Skin Fix Barrier Cream. What? Skin Fix Barrier Nutrient Misting Tonic. I just need something to kind of like solidify it a little bit so I don't get a ton of fallout or anything. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pat this on the lid under that cream. So I'm going to take it here. So I'm kind of blending into the wing, like that's where I'm going to focus the majority of the color, like blending into that wing. And then I'm basically just going to kind of like pat up on the lid, ever so slightly blending into the matte cream that we put down. I'm going back in with one of those red shades, one of them, the first one, and I'm doing a little blending into that. And I don't like my lower lash line, so I'm going to grab that first shade that we went in with. And just blending with that matte cream again. All right, I'm gonna add a quick little wing on the inner and outer corner with my House Labs eyeliner in Whiskey. This is the brown one. All right, and then for my waterline, I'm applying the Makeup Forever Aqua Resist pencil in Sienna. And then I'm gonna go in with Becca Champagne Pop for my highlighter. And just like everything else, you just want to make sure that you're blending. So you want to make sure that, I mean, obviously, like you don't want a strip of highlight. So I'm using a really light hand and I'm just blending into everything else, into my blush, slightly up onto my temples. Okay, for my mascara, I'm going to use my Clio mascara. So you can definitely wear this look with falsies because the eye is glam enough to do it. But I personally, lately, I don't know why, I've just kind of been like moving away from falsies and I've just been wearing waterproof mascara. I just kind of feel like it's so much more editorial when you just use natural lashes. And because it's not quite as glam, if you're sort of like trying to ease into glam eye looks when you're not wearing foundation, it's kind of a good way to finish a glam eye look without making it like too big, you know? Wow, I'm obsessed with this eye look. I love it so much. And we're not wearing any foundation. How much fun is that? Okay, I'm gonna do my lips now. And lips, I mean, you can do whatever you want. I think I'm gonna go in with this About Face lip liner in the shade Cradled. I'm trying to figure out how I can not overline my lips. I did like ever so slightly, but I'm really trying to like just not do it anymore. All right, I'm gonna go in with the Lisa Eldridge lipstick in Velvet Intrigue. All right, I'm doing a little bit of contouring with my Color Sensational lip liner in Gone Greige. All right, guys, so here's the finished look, up close and personal. Thoughts? Okay, so obviously this is a pretty glam look, pretty glam lip, pretty glam eye. We've got highlight going. We've got cheekbones popping, you know what I mean? But I'm not wearing any foundation, which is crazy to think about, honestly. Like I feel like it all came together really, really well. So I think the things to keep in mind are just kind of like the base that you're going for. You want to make sure that you are spot concealing the areas that are, you know, you have redness or maybe you have breakouts. If you have like uneven, like maybe some areas are darker, then maybe you want to do a little bit of color correction. You just want to make sure that everything that you are putting down is being blended into your complexion. So whether you're using cream or whether you're using a powder, you just want to make sure that there isn't going to be any patchiness. So preparing your skin for the next product that's coming, you know, obviously like do your creams before your powders. And if you're going to go in with your powder bronzer and you're like, oh, when I apply this without having foundation down, it ends up looking patchy, maybe just use a translucent powder in those areas before you go in. Hopefully you learned something. I hope this helped in some way. Let me know if you have any more questions, like if there's anything that I didn't cover in this video that, you know, you still need help with, and I'll get back to you. But right now, I need to go take some photos of this because I love it. All right, guys, thanks for watching. See you. Bye.